CNN News 18 has now accessed fresh CCTV visuals of the moment of the blast. Those visuals on your screen, this is the moment of the blast, which just shows the intensity of the entire explosion. You can see that how in just a matter of seconds, the entire traffic area is completely wiped out. And as you can see, people are rushing, shocked in the wake of that blast. That is the moment of the blast and the intensity of the explosion, which took place on the 10th of November, just 2 days back, ladies and gentlemen. And these were the scenes in the evening for people across not just the National Capital Region, but around the world, as the moment of blast has been caught on camera. And you can see the intensity of the explosion, which just completely obliterates so many 10 to 12 vehicles right around it. That was the intensity of the blast. I'm joined by my colleague Anshul Singh on the broadcast. So Anshul, this just shows us the intent of the terrorists was to cause maximum damage coming into a crowded traffic signal, and then you can just see the intensity of the blast. That's for everyone to see, and the intent as well as the planning by which they committed themselves to attack the people of this country.
Well, definitely this fresh CCTV that has been accessed by CNN News 18 very clearly shows that the amount of crowd that was present over there, the manner in which this blast has happened, and the panic that has stricken that entire area moments after the blast had happened, definitely very clearly shows that Umar, who was supposedly driving that vehicle, was in fact waiting for the footfall to increase in that entire area. And once he saw that the traffic is increasing during the peak hours of the national capital, he decided to go ahead and carry out this entire incident. The intensity of the blast is something that can very clearly be seen, and even in the postmortem report that we have accessed, the details of the postmortem report that we have accessed, it can be very clearly said that the intensity was so high that people actually the eardrums of the people were busted, along with that lungs, and intestines of the people were also busted by the intensity of this entire blast. 6 to 7 vehicles had caught fire. You can see in these visuals as well, the visuals that are playing on the screens, it is very clearly visible that how densely populated that entire area was where the blast had happened. And intentionally a CNG vehicle was bought. That CNG vehicle was also full. Along with that, the petrol was also over there. And the blast that happened at the rear end of the vehicle, which eventually meant that all the flammable material that was already in the vehicle, that could also be connected in somewhere or the other with the blast, so that the impact of the blast could be increased, and this eventually resulted in the death of 12 people out here in the national capital. The CCTV footage clearly shows the manner in which this entire incident has happened. The vehicle comes, and vehicle has stopped at the red light, and suddenly this explosion happens. So somewhere or the other, it is seeming like a panic attack that has happened out of panic. Once Umar got to know that he is going to get caught very, very soon, whatever material he had with him, he decided to go ahead and use those materials to carry out this entire blast, due to which 12 people has lost their lives. It remains to be seen once the DNA reports comes out, if the DNA actually matches with that of Umar, and if that happens, then direct links would be established with the Al Falah University, and then eventually links would be established to Jaish-e-Mohammed, and then eventually to Pakistan as well. So that DNA report that is still awaited, that would come in the next 24 to 48 hours. This DNA report would actually confirm the links to Pakistan as well. For the first time today, the government of India has also officially said that this is a terrorist attack that has happened. Links of Jaish-e-Mohammed from the Al Falah University has also been established. It is just this one missing piece of puzzle, that is the DNA report that is supposed to come out. And if that comes out positive and matches with that of Umar, then direct links with Pakistan, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and then eventually from Kashmir to Al Falah, all that will be established. The evidences that has been gathered, yes, it is pointing towards, all the dots are pointing towards the connection of Al Falah University with that of the blast that happened out here at the Red Fort. But yes, in this fresh footage that CNN News 18 has been able to manage exclusively, it can very clearly be seen that the blast was done at such a time when there was a lot of footfall that was already in that area. The blast was done with the purpose of making sure that the impact of the blast increases, and that is the reason why particularly a CNG vehicle was chosen, so that there is more flammable material in the vehicle, which could actually make sure that the intensity of the blast increases due to these flammable materials as well. It remains to be seen what will happen in that post-mortem report and how quickly can this entire link be established. But the point in question at this point in time is as well that there are other people in this entire nexus as well, in this white-collar terrorist nexus, and it remains to be seen if at all the police and the agencies will be able to establish, will be able to make sure that each and every person who is involved in this white-collar terrorism racket, they could be brought to the books, and the entire nexus could eventually be exposed as well.
Right. And Anshul, two questions also emerge in the wake of this visual that you've brought for us. Number one, the first question was that was it an accident? Was Umar panicking inside the car and he accidentally detonated the explosives which led to this destruction? Or the other question that emerges is that he was at the Sunehri Masjid market for about 3 hours. Was he waiting for the traffic to increase during the rush hour in the evening, and that's when he reached this traffic signal and then detonated the explosive? The question is, was Umar trying to escape and this accidentally happened, or was this an intentional detonation, as you are pointing out, taking place when there is maximum traffic in such an area?
Well, if you look at the sequence of events and how the incident eventually happened on 10/11, initially the Jammu Kashmir police arrested Muzammil on at least 10 days before the blast had happened. Muzammil was already arrested by the Jammu Kashmir police, and then eventually the other people who were part of this nexus inside the Al Falah University, they were also being caught one after the other, and also the recoveries were eventually made. In fact, the press conference that was done by the Commissioner of Police in Faridabad, he also very clearly stated that there could be that they are actually searching for one Dr. Umar who is still at large. So Umar got to know that the police is reaching very, very close to him, and hence he decided that the plan that they were thinking of to execute at a later stage, eventually, that should be done right now. So whatever material he had with him, he decided to go ahead and carry out this blast, and eventually the manner in which this blast has happened, the intensity was so high that 12 people lost their lives. Remember, after the sequence of events that has come out till now, it is very clearly evident that this was done just to make sure that before he gets arrested, he can afflict maximum damage to the people of India, and that is what he has done. Because remember, he entered into the Sunehri Masjid parking at approximately 3:48 p.m. and then eventually left from there at 6:48 p.m. So approximately for 3 hours, he stayed inside the parking. He was staying inside his vehicle itself. He did not even move out of his vehicle for the next 3 hours. And then eventually when he saw that the footfall has increased in the entire area, he saw that traffic has increased in that entire area, he decided to go ahead and carry out this entire incident, so that the damage that is inflicted, its impact could be increased, could be a maximum at that point. So this is how the entire sequence of events have come out. Prima facie, it is seeming like a planned blast, but a blast that has happened out of panic, because he knew that the agencies will get close to him, the agencies will nab him sooner than later, and hence he decided to go ahead and carry out this blast. Why are the agencies calling this a blast that might have happened out of panic? Because generally in IEDs that are used, there are sharp elements that are used in that IED as well. But in this IED, there were no sharp elements, there were no sharpnels, and that has been confirmed by the post-mortem report that has come out of the victims who were who had suffered injuries and victims who had lost their lives as well. There were no sharpnels or there were no sharp objects that were either found on their clothes or inside the body as well, which actually means that the terrorists were not able to actually go ahead and make a proper explosive device that could inflict a lot of damage, and hence they decided to go ahead and use a CNG vehicle so that there are more flammable materials in the vehicle, and hence the impact of the blast could be increased. Another important thing that should be noted is that the vehicle blasted from the rear end, from the boot side itself, where there is the petrol tank of the vehicle, where the CNG tank of the vehicle is. So the science was very, very clear in this, that if you blast anything on flammable materials, the impact would be higher, and that is what has been done. He was only one person who was traveling in that vehicle. The CCTV footages that has been accessed by CNN News 18 and by the agencies as well of the entire route that he had taken to come to the national capital, not once he was seen using his mobile phone. The last usage of his mobile phone happened on the 31st of October itself, when Muzammil got arrested. And since then, he had switched off his phone. There were no devices with him that has been traced till now, which actually indicates that he knew that if at all he will use any sort of a digital device, that could be tracked by the police, and then eventually the police will get close to him sooner than later. So before the police could get to him, whatever material he had, whatever detonators he had, he made a bomb out of it. Out of it, the chemicals that were present with him, he made a bomb out of it, and then detonated it in such a manner that the impact of this entire blast could be maximized.
Right. And Anshul, very quickly, we're also showing our viewers the route the entire Umar took inside that car, the route the entire I-20 took. And what we learn is that the I-20 entered Delhi at about 8 a.m. in the morning from Faridabad. Now, the question emerges that the police in the morning was also able to bust that safe house, that cache in Faridabad, which had those copious amounts, that huge cache of ammonium nitrate explosive material. The question also emerges, was this bomb made in Faridabad, and then in the early hours of the 10th of November, it was carried inside this I-20 and then brought into Delhi? Did he then move, as we're showing on our screens, from Kashmiri Gate? Did he go from there to Daryaganj? And then after that, did he just go do an about turn, reach the Sunehri Masjid parking area, stay there for 3 hours, and then head towards the Red Fort where this explosion took place? Is that connection being established to the arms cache that was found in Faridabad?
Well, yes, that connection is being established at this point in time, but nothing can be said for sure as to actually where the bomb was initially made and where the bomb eventually detonated. But yes, if you look at the entire route map, at 2 a.m. in the morning, he was seen near the Al Falah University itself. It is likely that he collected the material from over there and then took it and then brought it inside Delhi. The next CCTV footage is of Badarpur border, which is the Delhi-Faridabad border. He can be seen in that border. The next footage that has been accessed by agencies and by CNN News 18 as well is from the Okhla. It's from Okhla petrol pump, where he refueled petrol into his vehicle to make sure that his vehicle has ample amount of fuel so that the impact could be maximum. The next footage is from Mayur Vihar, and then eventually he goes to Connaught Place. Connaught Place, yet again Monday in Connaught Place, the footfall was less. Most of the shops were closed, so probably a decision was taken that at Connaught Place it is not adequate enough to carry out such a blast because the area is open. Then Umar went towards Kashmiri Gate, which is yet again a very highly footfalling area where there are a lot of people. But yet again, it was Monday. The shops in Kashmiri Gate were closed, and hence he decided to come towards Chandni Chowk. There are no Mondays in Chandni Chowk. Each and every day is absolutely packed in this entire area, and hence he decided to come over here at Chandni Chowk. He enters inside the Sunehri Masjid parking at 3:45 p.m. He stays inside the parking for 3 hours, making sure that once the peak hours of the national capital come up, that is between 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Once that happens, and once the sun sets, he goes out with his vehicle and then carries out his blast just to make sure that the intensity of the blast is such that the damage that could be inflicted could be maximized. So this was a very planned attack, but the planning was not done with the planning was not the incident that happened was not done according to the plans that were initially made. It was done out of haste just to make sure that before Umar gets arrested, he could actually inflict some sort of a damage on the people of a country.
By Anvit Srivastav on the broadcast. So Anvit, our colleague Ananya also, he traced the entire route from Al-Falah University all the way to the Red Fort. And one thing that was found was that in the 45-kilometer stretch, there was no checkpoint. So it seems that this entire route of, going from Al-Falah University, going via the Sunheri Market Masjid, going via even Daryaganj, this entire route that we've pieced out for our viewers, this was very carefully planned. This clearly shows that there was some level of wrecking that was being done to pick the right spot and maybe even the right time to detonate this bomb in the national capital.
Yeah, certainly. And see, the route that was taken, the route that Ananya took, and he found barely any checkposts. It speaks completely in volumes of no lessons learned by the police, because this route covers entire, upscale South Delhi, leading to Lutyens Delhi and then to the Red Fort. And similarly, the recce was done, and that is probably one reason why these men managed to maneuver their vehicles in a way that it was not captured on all CCTV cameras all along the way. Police are having a hard time to piece it together. There are gaps in their, when they have tried to map the car to all areas it went, even though it was a explosive laden vehicle, and if it was moving all around Delhi freely without being stopped on any checkpost, without being asked by any police official for checking or any such thing, even though random checking for so many vehicles there are in Delhi, and random checks are not easy, but escaping all of these and roaming around for hours before coming to halt at Red Fort, and then resting at Red Fort, parking for 3 hours, and then coming out and detonating the vehicle. It certainly speaks volume of the kind of security that has been around. It's the festive season. It starts from Diwali, the Shera, and then goes up to the New Year's Eve. Security usually in this point in Delhi is said to be on high alert, also with approaching 26 January. At that time, such an incident happening, and reports are also coming in that probably 26 January was also on their radar, and if this Al-Falah module had not been busted, probably they would have patiently waited as they had been doing, and without any agencies to coming to know of it. So that certainly is worrying. At the same time, you see this CCTV footage that Anshul has shared just now. It clearly shows the intensity of the blast, and since the beginning we have been saying that ammonium nitrate probably here was mixed with some military grade explosive. That certainly looks more clear now. We can see through it as we have been claiming it since the beginning. However, there has been no official word on it what explosive was used, but the kind in which the road is completely jam packed. There are there's a sea of vehicles around that I-20. There's a DTC bus. There are at least 7 to 8 auto rickshaws. There are private vehicles. There are e-rickshaws and a tempo, and so many locals can be seen in that CCTV footage. And when that explosion goes off, seconds after it, you can see pieces of metal and pieces of human remains raining around in that area.
Right.
So, and that is what exactly the visuals were when we had reached the spot. We could see human remains lying, people making videos of people who were left amputated, people who were left dead, and their remains were still lying on the road. So that clearly this CCTV also clearly establishes the kind of explosion it was and the intensity of explosives that was used in this incident.
Right. So the question also remains, did the driver wait at the Sunheri Masjid for 3 hours just so that traffic can pick up in this area, so that he could move the car into this heavily packed area and detonate those explosives? And you can see the intensity of the blast, ladies and gentlemen. It just goes off, and then suddenly everything is just mangled remains around the exploded vehicle, and people rushing as panic also sets in. We will continue to track all the developments coming in, because this is a crucial piece of the investigation, talking about not just the intent of the attackers, but the route they took all the way from Faridabad to the heart of the national capital to carry out this deadly attack.